It started small, like most HOA problems do, but it quickly turned into something I couldn't ignore. Every week on trash day, I'd do exactly what every homeowner does: roll my bin to the curb. Make sure it was out of the way, neat, and ready for pickup. Nothing fancy, nothing wrong. But my neighbor, the one everyone whispered about as HOA Karen, had a different idea. She acted like she was the sheriff of the neighborhood, patrolling the street with a clipboard of imaginary violations only. She could see, and for some reason, my trash can became her favorite target. She'd wait until I left for work, stroll over with that smug look on her face, and push my bin over like it was some kind of game. Sometimes she'd kick it, sometimes she'd shove it into the street, and sometimes she'd just tip it over enough so the garbage spilled out, forcing me to clean it up after a long day. At first, I thought maybe it was a one-time accident. But week after week, it became clear this wasn't an accident at all. This was deliberate. This was her way of reminding me she thought she had control. She kept insisting my trash can was somehow against the rules. Even though I checked the HOA handbook front to back and found nothing about it, according to her, it was too close to the sidewalk one week, blocking the view the next, and then, suddenly, it was lowering property values. The excuses changed every single time, but the result was always the same: her knocking it over and acting like she was correcting some major violation. What made it even more ridiculous was that everyone else on the street had their cans in the exact same spot as me, but she never touched theirs. It was almost like she had singled me out for some personal vendetta. Neighbors would walk by and see me picking up trash that had spilled out, giving me sympathetic looks because they knew it wasn't me causing the problem. I even asked her once, calmly, why she had such an issue with my bin. She smirked and told me, "It's not about you, it's about the rules." But when I pressed her on which rule I was breaking, she had no answer. That's when I realized this wasn't about rules at all. It was about control. One day, I finally decided enough was enough. If she was going to keep messing with my trash can, I was going to find out for sure. So, I set up a small camera facing the curb, hidden well enough that she'd never notice. The very next trash day, my suspicion was confirmed in the clearest way possible. There she was, marching across the street like she owned it, looking around to make sure no one was watching. Then, with a little smirk, she gave my can a hard shove. The camera caught her laughing as the lid popped open and a few bags spilled onto the ground. She didn't even hesitate, just strutted away as if she'd done the neighborhood a favor. Watching that footage made my blood boil, not just because of the mess she left behind, but because of the sheer joy she seemed to take in it. This wasn't some accident or misunderstanding. It was deliberate, calculated, and cruel. She enjoyed creating a problem for me to clean up, like it was her own private joke. And now I had proof, clear, undeniable proof, that she wasn't just being petty. She was going out of her way to harass me. It didn't take long before the neighbors started noticing what was really going on. At first, they thought I was just being careless with my trash, maybe setting it out too early or not securing the lid. But when they saw me out there, week after week, picking up garbage that had clearly been spilled on purpose, the story started to change. A few of them even admitted they had seen her do it, but didn't want to get involved with Karen drama. Others began to complain, not to me, but to the HOA board, saying the real problem was the mess she kept creating every week. No one wanted to step outside in the morning and be greeted by scattered bags, food wrappers, and blown-over cans rolling down the street. The smell alone was bad enough, especially in the summer heat. What stung the most was that she was the one causing the chaos, yet somehow she acted like I was the one breaking the rules. The hypocrisy was so obvious to everyone else, and little by little, the support she thought she had in the neighborhood started slipping away. People were tired of her games, and it showed after weeks of her nonsense. I decided it was time to fight back, but not in the way she expected. Instead of arguing with her or running to the HOA board, I came up with a plan that would end her little game once and for all. I went out and bought a brand new trash can, but this one wasn't like the ordinary bin she was used to knocking over. It was heavier, sturdier, and fitted with a special locking mechanism that made it almost impossible to tip. On the outside, it looked just like any other can on the block, but I had customized it in a way that gave me the upper hand. I even placed it in the same exact spot she always complained about, just to make sure she wouldn't resist the temptation. To her, it probably looked like the same old trash can she had pushed around a dozen times before, just waiting for her to come over and claim her little victory. But this time, the victory wasn't going to be hers. I had set it up perfectly. Knowing she wouldn't be able to resist trying the same stunt again when trash day rolled around, trash day came. And just like clockwork, she couldn't help herself. I watched from my window as she strutted across the street, glancing around to make sure no one was watching. She walked right up to my new bin, gave it that same smug look she always did, and went to shove it over like it was just another week of her little routine. Only this time, the can didn't budge. She pushed harder, leaning into it with both hands, but the heavy base held firm. I could see the confusion on her face as she tried again, this time kicking at it, only to have her foot rebound off the reinforced side. That's when the lid's locking mechanism snapped into place, making a loud click that echoed down the street. A couple of neighbors who had been sitting on their porches turned their heads, watching as she struggled and failed in front of everyone. Her usual air of control was gone, replaced with pure frustration. Some neighbors even started laughing, whispering to each other as they realized what was happening. The very trash can she thought she controlled had turned into her biggest embarrassment, and there was no hiding it anymore.